has been a breach at the Hydrolink facility in Nexus. Please get there immediately.
You just saw the first 30 seconds of the brand new Wilder World gameplay trailer. This thing has amassed over 500,000 views on YouTube and millions on Twitter, which is unheard of in the crypto gaming space. So clearly they are doing something right. As you know, I'm very fond of the Wilder World metaverse, and I think if anyone is going to be able to pull off the metaverse thing, it is going to be them. Like Sandbox has its own niche, but many of the others like Decentraland and whatever Meta tried to do, I don't think they're quite going to work in the way you might expect. At the same time, I'm not ultra convinced on metaverses in general. That is because me as a grown adult, I don't have much time to just get lost in a metaverse the same way that I could have maybe played World of Warcraft for 6 hours after school when I was younger, okay? But that being said, Wilder World is doing so many things differently that I think they have a real chance at pulling it off. Maybe that's because I actually really enjoyed Cyberpunk and this has some great Cyberpunk vibes. I don't know what to tell you. But the reason I want to react and watch this trailer today and give my brutal, honest impressions on it is because there is some positives and there are a lot of negatives as well. And I want to go over all of them in this video. Now, the Wilder World community has really loved this trailer. They've given it overwhelmingly positive sentiment, and they should. It's fantastic, and it's showing how talented the Wilder World team actually is. But there is a little bit, it leaves a little bit to be desired, but I also want to point out some things in this that you might actually know about Wilder World yet that will help convince you about why this metaverse could actually stick, could be sticky. And it's not because every item's an NFT. That's not necessarily a good thing. There are some other elements that you really need to know about that are really important here. So let's watch the trailer. I'm going to go and pause here and there, but we're going to get through the non-gameplay elements first, and then it does kick off into some gameplay, and it is absolutely awesome. All right. I love the general aesthetic. I think it looks a little bit too close to Cyberpunk, but I still love it. It looks less and less like Cyberpunk the deeper you get into it, but what can you do? So I don't know how much this will feed into the game itself, but this is telling me that it has some level of storyline and questing and things like that, which is something Illuvium and many other games have kind of missed along the road. I don't know how in-depth it's going to be. I think it needs to be decent to really hook in new players. But at the same time, it looks like it's got something pretty fun here. We'll see this throughout the course of the trailer. It looks like it basically takes place through the first story mission of the game, which is really, really cool to see. Meow. For anyone who doesn't know, the city is basically called Little Meow. Or at least one part of it is. They say that the, I can't remember what it was exactly, but they say the map you play on is something like 2 or maybe 3 times the size of the GTA 5 map. Which is really cool to see. These animations, the graphics are top notch. I'm not really going to say anything bad about the graphics, I assure you. It's more gameplay that I have concerns with, but still looks fantastic. And this is where we get into the gameplay part of it, I think. This is all rendered in-game footage as far as I can tell, and from driving in the streets of Miami, I can tell you that's probably the case. But this is something that separates it from other games in its genre off the bat here. As you can see that he's in a flying hovercraft of some kind, okay? This thing is flying around, okay? Now, I don't know how hard or easy that's going to be to implement in the game smoothly, while you're in with other players and things like that. And they've got some integrations with some partners that should allow up to like 1,000 players in a single concurrent world. That would be the aim, at least. I don't think it'll start off that way. But that's really exciting. And they have hovercrafts, which is really cool. I can't afford to buy one myself. They are NFTs. You'll probably be able to craft them or make them when you get into the game or whatever. I have no idea. I'm just talking about this from the trailer side of things. But I don't believe in Cyberpunk you can fly around, or at least not easily. I'm not like that far into the game, but it's my understanding it's mostly focused around the cars and things like that. But the fact that you can fly, you can use the car, you can do something else, which you're going to see in the trailer in just a minute, which is really cool. And it'll really make you feel like you have total freedom in this world, which is really what the metaverse is about. Invisible walls are the last thing you want in a metaverse. You do want it to give it some Second Life sort of vibes where you can just do whatever you want in this world, go crazy, and just have fun with it. And Wild World is really portraying that here, which I think is important and very important to me when I am going to play this game. You can see that they're all geared up in these crazy, like, super cyber tech suits, which look great. The ability to customize them and stuff is going to make this a whole lot more fun as well. So, very excited for that. You can see he's looking over thing. This is all full rendered out, okay? Everything you can see right now in this shot right here, you can go and visit that. Now, I don't know if that building right in front of him is going to have 100 floors that you can walk around in. But they have been procedurally generating a lot of this world and stuff with careful creation. All this stuff is super over nerdy. What I'm trying to say is they've built this world different to how other large open worlds have actually been built. And it is quite possible that there is a floor on every single floor in that tower that you can explore. Maybe not on every single tower, but there's going to be elements of that throughout this where there's just so many different places you can explore that. And like in a year's time, you might go into a room no one's ever been in before because this thing is just so massive. You can see that whoever's demoing the gameplay trailer here is showing it off. But like this Wyoming, this area of Wyoming has been built for quite some time. You can see it when you're driving around. It just hasn't been playable in, I guess, human form or semi-robot or whatever he is. I'm going to assume hero. This is very Halo super suit sort of thing, but you know, I like it. I like the craft. I hope I can craft one day or something like that. Maybe working in one of the industries or from my land, I'll be able to get one of them. That could be really cool. He's also changing his look. They all look absolutely awesome. I love them. Like, they're simple, but that's right. That's the right way to go. And it gives you so many different customization options and stuff as well. But you can start doing gradients and all that sort of stuff. I don't know. I think it's cool. So this looks like it's his crib, basically his home.
I have marked the nearest location.
And as I said, it looks like they're playing through the very first story mission. You can see there's different areas on the map. He's going to try and go to the armory. That is a small part of Little Meow. Little Meow is huge, okay? I'm telling you guys.
There is a breach near your apartment and forum agents have blocked off the street.
And you can see another form of transport is gliding. So even if you don't have your craft, I can imagine people going to a building, going up an elevator, jumping off the roof, and then gliding to their next destination, which, if there's like, I don't know how crazy it gets, right? But if there's like 1,000 players all gliding around on the map at the same time, that would be so fucking funny. I have no idea. Okay, but like, it all visually looks great. It's going a little bit too hyper real, a little bit too real here for me. Like, you can see all the dirty textures on the buildings and stuff like that. I kind of like it when my worlds get super fantastical. You can see there's an auto way for him to stop, but like, this is my first little negative thing. Some of the gameplay elements look a little bit janky. Like, overall, this looked pretty good. The gliding looked perfect. The diving looked perfect. But you could see that flip was way too fast. Now, obviously, that's a really easy fix. But it's these sorts of things I hope they fix before the game goes full open, full launch, marketing, all the rest of it. It's that sort of stuff that does take you out of it a little bit, but this one's very, very nitpicky. Although I do love the dust. It doesn't look quite right, but I do love the dust coming out from the ground. But so you can see that they're really working on it. I really like the way you dodge with the mag. I don't even know what to call it, with the jetpack. I think that's a cool touch. And all the effects on the suits when you're hitting them and how it comes out from the area that you hit. But again, some of this is a little bit janky, like the punches and stuff. I do like the slow-mo action and stuff like that, but like, they just kind of fall to the ground. There's not really much put into that quite yet, but I know that will come in the future. So there's that, but like, and this finisher is very cool. We're going to watch that in a second, but like, look at this. Look at the way his legs move when he moves side to side. Look at that. It looks so goofy. This looks kind of goofy too. Oh, crazy finish to that. But that sequence actually looked really cool. And the incoming call from Ava or whatever in the top left, absolutely awesome. All right. It needs like a little background or something so it's easy to see. Overall, perfect. There's a little bit of lag there. I think this is going to be hard for low-end PCs in the early days of its launch, but hopefully they managed to get the optimization down pat straight away. Again, they did actually release this for 4K, so it might be like smooth as butter on most PCs when you're playing at 1080p. So there's that too. But you can see he jumps in a car, and if you didn't know, you can actually jump on Epic Games now and download Midnight in Miami, I think it's called. Midnight in Miami, race around and race against other drivers. And they've already nailed this part. They know that they've nailed it, okay? The driving, the racing, everything is perfect. You can see the cars, the visuals on it, all the visuals of the environment. Look at the reflections on the road. They've done a really good job with this. The handling of the steering actually feels really good. At least it does for me. For someone who's not super into racing games, I thought it was perfect, basically. But they've absolutely nailed the car side of things. But it's the human side of things that just looks really janky so far. But we digress. You can see this person's familiar with the racing already. Like, they're not bad with it. It's a lot harder than it looks. I suck at it personally. The way that they actually like got knocked over on the ground was actually really cool. Those are the little things that I know the team at Wilder World is going to include no matter what. Okay, that is the thing they are going to incorporate, and that really excites me. You can see they're driving to their next destination. I don't know how they know where they're going. Okay, you can see there's kind of like it's like a red highlighted thing on the map in the top right that I think is helping them identify where to go. Or I could be imagining things. That's very possible as well. You can see someone walking around on the street. I kind of would have liked to see more people. That's not necessarily a big deal. I'm sure in the future it might have more people, but for the demo, it's not necessarily important. He's going in to get his weapon.
Your ultimate weapon destination. What are you looking for?
Firearms.
Got it. Here's our two hottest items. Schmalnoy, energy pistol. A heavily modified directed energy weapon using superheated ionized gas. Then we have the AR-15. Lightweight.
So this is really interesting. Now, I don't know how gamers are going to respond to this. I've learned more about gamers and monetization in the past 12 months than I had ever learned in my 25 years of life or whatever it is. But you can see here that he gets the AR-15, which is 2,800 wild. I don't even know how much that is in dollars. If wild's almost $1, wild is almost 10 cents per token, $1 per token. I can't even remember. You guys go figure out what wild is, and then I'll tell you. And he has two attachments, 500 and 400 wild. It looks like everything's going to be priced in wild. That's bullish for the token, if you know what I'm saying. But more importantly, there's this like single game currency that's going to work for everything. This game currency lives on the blockchain, which is really what the metaverse, or what people dreamed up the metaverse to be about when they got involved with crypto and stuff like that. So that's really exciting. I don't know how easy or hard that's going to be to interact with, because the onboarding into that cryptocurrency and stuff like that is going to be the tricky thing. But if the game is good enough, I don't personally think it'll matter. But it's going to be an interesting ask for people. Like, they want free currency. How much of this is going to be for free? And like, people want an element of it to be like, you can grind your way up purely for free. And if that doesn't exist, I think you're going to have some trouble. But we won't know that until we actually play the game. Cool to see him equip it. The UI in the bottom left, very simple. Grenades, tactical, and healing items. Perfect. I see so many really like over-engineered UIs that are just really crap, and I hate it. But this is just, it gets the job done. It does a good job. I love how it's consistent too. It's basically the same UI on the right-hand side for when you're driving. And hopefully similar UI for when you're flying and so on. I like it. Let me know in the comments, if you were playing this game and there were lots of cars on the road, would you stop at red lights? This guy does not care. He's just driving through everyone. Also, if you want to see the full trailer in 4K, go onto YouTube. I tried to record my video in 4K. It didn't work out. Let's just say that. My computer could not handle it. There we go. I didn't trash some cars this time. Just the pylons in the middle of the road. That's okay. All right, let's see what he does here.
Annihilate the forum agents and find a key card to get to the security facility.
And this is where it starts to get exciting. He's going to go out and take out opponents. Like if this was just a metaverse where you just run around, you do nothing, it would have flopped immediately. But the quests and things have some engaging elements to them that's very exciting. But personally, I'm really excited for Rebellion, which is their new PvP shooter of some kind. I don't think it's going to be a battle royale, or at least not at first. It's probably going to be battle royale eventually. But it's going to be some sort of Call of Duty kind of shooter, probably with some abilities. I hope it has abilities and things. Otherwise, I would be a little bit less interested in it. But it's got shooting elements, and that's what excites me about this game. Okay, it's not just a metaverse. It's a place with multiple games in it, like many have envisioned the metaverse. Sandbox actually does this pretty well, from what I understand. But basically, you can go in and you can either explore this world, do the quest, earn some wild, participate in the industries or whatever else, or you can play their shooter, you can play their racing game. Maybe they'll have a flying game in the future. I don't know. But you can do these other things. You can play a video game, which is kind of what you want to do after work. You don't want to just do more work, which is kind of what a metaverse entails because it's the second life. But they have these other things you can do, and that's where it seems to be focused around. And that's why I think it'll do it really well. You can see a lot of these animations and things have been really good. The walking one kills me. His walking animation is so annoying. It just doesn't work. The crawling, crouching and stuff's pretty cool. I actually love how he can stand on the escalator and it takes him down. I personally have never seen that in a video game before, functioning that way. I think it's pretty funny. The death animations there were really cheesy. The guns just kind of drop on the ground. Would be cool to have some UI elements on them. I like kind of like the Borderlands style. I know it's a little bit arcadey. I've always preferred that personally. I know not everyone prefers that, but as long as it's like, oh, it's got that blue shine to it. I take that back. That's fine. And I love the way they like dissolve from the energy blast from the rifle when they go down. And I love the way it looks when it hits their chest and like it has that blue energy thing popping off of it. But like, there's just something that feels weird about it. But that's the thing. Is it doesn't actually weird. You'll see later that I'll change my entire tune on that. He's not a bad shot. Clearly there's no aim assist on this, so he's probably playing mouse and keyboard. Walking animation doesn't look as bad here, but it still looks a little bit weird. It's like his body and his legs are not attached, okay? They're completely separate, and he's running animation. He looks like... I don't know how to describe it. But he looks like he needs to just take a big dump the whole time he's running. And I wish he would stop running, because it's making me, like, feel bad for this guy. He needs to go to the toilet really, really badly. When he's holding the pistol, it's not as bad, but you can see his legs and his body are just not attached. They're not attached on the swivel. There's two separate entities, and it feels really awkward. But yeah, okay. That, like, when it comes to my negative sentiment, that's basically the main thing, all right? Everything else is good. I'm loving it. The visuals in here are really cool. You can see the map in there. They've got elevator music. I hope that was put in post. I hate elevator music. It's a funny gag. I'm not gonna lie. It's a funny gag, but I don't love it, all right? I just don't. All right, and you can see this is where he gets into the what do they call it? The forum? And he's basically got to go through a dungeon of some kind, which looks like it's detached from the main world, but maybe it's not. It looks like a level he's entered sort of a thing. And he's going to go through this and take out the opposition. This animation, stunning, okay? And this is where it gets interesting. Once he enters first person, a lot of my worries just go away. You don't see him running like a freaking weirdo the whole time. The visuals on this, with the gun, bullets coming in, the bullets going out, all of the visuals of him reloading the gun is incredible. I don't know how well it handles. I would have to play it to comment on that, but it looks great. I'll move my camera out of the way so you guys can see. It actually looks really cool. He's not as good of a shot when he's using the rifle, I'll tell you that much. Boom. I love the way you can destroy those barrels. It doesn't look quite right yet, but that's something that'll be easy for them to fix in the future. It just like explodes too quickly. Like it just kind of barrel then fire instead of barrel explosion into fire. We don't really have that explosion part in the middle there yet. Again, the grenades have a similar problem. They don't look quite right. And the fire itself doesn't look quite right. But those are all things that'll be easy for them to fix. I just hope the animations of the person moving around get adjusted. I really like him getting these moon boots equipped, which means he can jump really high. And it's these sorts of abilities I hope we get to see more of in the future. He can also fly around. And in like a PvP shooter, it's that sort of stuff that excites me. Like having grapple hooks and like maybe in some sort of like pulse ability. Like one of my favorite shooter games of all time is Mass Effect. Because I love all of the abilities, the way you can customize them in Mass Effect, where it's not quite magic, but it's basically magic. And I love that sort of thing. And I hope Wilder World goes down that thing. The visuals in all these areas are really cool. You can see the lighting bouncing off the walls, all of the different red lights in some rooms and green in others. The way it looks when sunlight comes in there, it looks great. But again, this, like, all the characters are running kind of weird and they don't look real. And maybe that's the point. Maybe they're robots. I'm not even sure. But they just don't look, they look so fake when they're kind of moving around and they're like, you see that guy did like a full 90-point turn in like half a second? See, that reload animation is so good. Like, that's the sort of stuff you need to do in a shooter. When they don't have that sort of stuff, it actually irks the crap out of me. But I'm glad Wilder World is taking care on those sorts of things. I actually had a lot less negative to say than I thought I did. But like, look at this guy's 90-point turn. See that? What is that? Look, he just turns. He doesn't interpolate at all. That's the first thing I learned when I was doing my Unreal course. It's interpolation. Add that in there, guys. Come on, come on. You guys are better than this. The rest of it looks great. You guys are better than this. I love how he jumps to the outdoor here. Would have been cool if there was some glass that he broke or something. The death animation's a little bit like too fast. But like, I'm sure this is a part of the lore. It's important. Grenade looks cool. That explosion was much better than the other one. So maybe it's not as bad as I thought. I'm just overthinking it. But yeah, it just needs a little bit like, the textures and the graphics in general are really great. But it's some of like the SFX that's a little bit weird. That's where it is. Like, you could tell they spent like days and days. There's like one dude spent days and days working on the energy refractions when it hits their body. The energy bolts all look cool. The energy bolts from the enemies look really cool. The gun UI, the gun textures all look fantastic. But just like the explosions, they haven't been done yet. Or if they have been done, I'm a little bit disappointed, not going to lie. But I'm going to assume they haven't been done yet. I can't wait to see that sort of stuff. And I hope it's those little things that are added in before Rebellion comes out, because I cannot wait to try that game. Explosive grenade equipped. I wonder how many different kinds of grenades there are. Like a singularity grenade would be really cool that like pulls enemies in towards it. That'd be really cool. He got lost somehow. I don't know how. I think he's just showing off the scenery. They do that a bit in this trailer. I like it. You can see all the dust and how the light's lighting it up. A bit over the top, but I still like it. The moon boost, very, very cool. And it looks like he's going to get all of his starting equipment through this first quest, which I think is cool. I don't know why he's not going into cover when that happens. It looks like he blew up some sort of cryo barrel, but it did a lot of damage, so maybe it's not. Maybe it's just like an ion barrel or something like that. Either way, I like it. I actually really want like a Starfighter game out of Wilder. I think that'd be fun. But you just know they're doing a killer job here. All the different items on the ground, they are highlighting, which is cool to see. Would be nice if they highlighted a little bit more, but overall it's pretty fine. And he's going back into the underground area. Gonna blow that guy up. The voice line from that guy screaming in pain was a little bit weak, to be honest. Definitely could make it funnier, but not that important. And here he fights some sort of, I want to say, boss. I think that makes the game a lot more exciting. It's really hard to tell how much health he has. For me, because I haven't played the game. I want to assume his health bar's at the very top there, and he's actually not losing any health because they've like fudged it just for the trailer. But that's fine. He does health packs, which is pretty cool. Takes him a while, but he does take one out. I do kind of like it how you can knock them down and they don't die, and how they kind of like dissolve into that red thing shows when they actually die. And I think that's a really nice touch. I'm looking forward to it. Boom, I'm going to take that guy out. Yeah, just flying around shooting people is always my favorite thing in games. I don't know if you guys have played Marvel Rivals, but Iron Man is a lot of fun. But yeah, so here we go. It's going to use a heal canister. I don't think it actually did anything. It looks like he was probably on full health. Gets new ammo, gets new healing canisters. Very cool. It's kind of like a checkpoint sort of thing. In a Souls-like, the healing canisters are basically how far you can get into a run. If you take no damage, obviously, you don't need them. But yeah, so I like that. I like that they're taking inspiration from so many different kinds of games. Cyberpunk, Souls-like, games like Destiny, all that sort of stuff. They're taking so much inspiration from them all. And they're really doing it justice. Like, some of the animations just look unfinished and, like, unpolished. And that's going to come with time. The world looks beautiful, although it's kind of hard to see how far you can go into different buildings and what the loading will kind of be like. Like, he went through essentially like a portal with that elevator. And so is he in a different environment? Can other players follow him in? A lot of those questions are up in the air, but they don't detract from this trailer. The gameplay looks really cool. Doesn't look that fun yet. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Like, just shooting a bunch of enemy soldiers that are really, really dumb doesn't look that entertaining to me. You need some more interesting enemy types and some more interesting weapons, maybe. I don't know. It doesn't look like that fascinating just yet. But it's really got some legs. They've built out the world now. And they've got some of the gun and other gunplay aesthetics looking really cool for the most part. They just need to like enhance that gameplay now. And I can't wait for the future of Wilder World. It's going to be awesome. If you agree with me, let me know down in the comments. If you thought the walking and stuff was janky, let me know. Let me know if I'm crazy, okay? I might be just way off the deep end here. If I am, please let me know and I won't talk about it anymore. But I just thought that sort of thing let me down a little bit. But once he entered first person mode, everything looked so much better. It was like 3 times better to watch. I cannot even describe. But maybe I'm overthinking things.